We have a huge game on Thursday with USA versus Canada, and I have a lot of thoughts about this one. Let's talk about it here on Locked On Blues.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen.
Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I'm your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, we're going to talk about USA versus Canada. They're both in the finals for Thursday night's contest of the Four Nations Face-Off. We also had Blues practice today. Yes, the Blues are back in action. And then, of course, for the trade deadline, I know yesterday I said if the Blues do nothing, I'll be fine. But I would also be okay if they did something with the defense. Listen, you and I, we both know that the defense has been an issue. It's been a problem for quite a while. So literally, I would not complain if they ended up getting a good defenseman or literally an average defenseman at this point. So let's talk all about that on today's episode here of Locked On Blues. I do want to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by FanDuel. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. I hope everybody is having a happy Tuesday, February 18th. And honestly, when it comes to hockey, this Four Nations face-off has been the most entertaining hockey I've watched probably all season. One, because it's good hockey. Two, it's competitive hockey. And three, because the Tkachuk brothers entertain me. Listen, we know how I feel about Matthew and Brady and how I would do anything to have, especially Matthew Tkachuk, wear the blue note. And I do believe it is possible. I'm never going to say never. I do think that if it happens, I would suspect it to happen towards like the very end of his career, kind of like what Patty Maroon is doing, except he's kind of been around a little bit longer than I suspected him to be. But I feel like for one season, I could 100% see Matthew Tkachuk wearing the blue note. And it's very like full circle too when you think about it. Like, Keith wore it. And Keith Tkachuk, I also want to say too, is that he honestly is such a good hockey dad, a good hockey guru. Because at the end of the day, he raised his sons to be phenomenal hockey players, and their sister plays, I believe it's lacrosse, and she had a scholarship for it. So they're tremendous athletes. But the reason why I think I'm so fascinated with this Four Nations face-off is because this is like one of the few times that we get to see Matthew and Brady playing together. And at least for me, I know that they're not Blues players, but they're still St. Louisans or, like they're still from here. So I guess in my head, it's justified. And they even like said on the broadcast the other day, they made a reference to St. Louis. And like, I know how much they probably want to play here. So for me, that's a huge thing. Also, Quinn Hughes will be playing in this tournament. He got sent to Boston, shipped out to Boston today. So we'll be seeing him. Obviously, we have our guy Binner, who's going to be in net, and then Colton Parayko for Team Canada. Listen, it's something against Team Canada. Good players on Team Canada, right? I just think USA is significantly better than Canada. And I think just having the home crowd in Boston will definitely be notable, especially after all the booing and all that went down. I feel like the US crowd is just going to be very rowdy. And I feel like it's going to be more favored for Team USA. But again, I don't know. I'm a little bit biased too, because I also just think that there's some players on Team USA that I just kind of feel like I enjoy more. And it's nothing against any of the Canadian players. I think, at the end of the day, there's a lot of players on Team Canada that I like. Obviously, two of my own guys. So it's not like I'm like rooting against Team Canada. But I just think that with Team USA and their roster, I just find it to be players that I find enjoyable. Like Jack Eichel. Listen, hate the Golden Knights, right? But when he was with Buffalo, I felt really bad for him because like they treated him horribly there. So for me, like he's one of those players that I necessarily didn't root for, but I'm always like, wow, this guy deserved better because first off, he has great talent. And secondly, he does have a lot of good skill sets that he does offer. I mean, obviously he was the captain with, Buffalo for a while, but I feel like again, it's kind of like one of those things where I just kind of root for those type of players. They also have Austin Matthews, and I know what you're gonna say. Austin Matthews, he's so overrated. And listen, I understand because everybody likes to hate on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I feel like that's just a thing these days. But at least for me, I feel like Austin Matthews is one of those players where I look at him and I just know that he is being coached by Berube, so I'm a little bit biased on that aspect, and I also think he's ridiculously good. I mean, the kid came out of Arizona, which is insane. Like, when I think about that, I can't fathom too, and I know that, like, Arizona obviously has, like, hockey rinks, and I get that. But whenever I think about hockey in America, like, I think of, like, Minnesota, St. Louis, Boston, like, places like that, New York, like, upstate especially. I don't necessarily think of Arizona. So for me, Austin Matthews, I found interesting because I'm like, wow, this kid became like a hockey wizard out in Arizona. So that was interesting. We also have Chris Kreider, and I hate the Rangers. And I'm the first one to say that. Like, I'm a Rangers hater. Absolutely hate the Rangers. Grew up hating the Rangers. Never liked the Rangers. Do want Keandre Miller. But other than that, hate the Rangers. But I think that Chris Kreider is one of those really good players. And it's like a very rare opportunity where I'm able to root for a player on a team that I absolutely hate. And I'm sure you understand like what that means in a sense because like, I don't know, like Connor Hellebuck, like he's with the Jets now. We don't have like beef with the Jets, like Jake Ottinger, like yeah, like Dallas, like I guess in a way we do kind of. I never really feel like I have beef with goalies ever though, so I find that to be like kind of like off-putting. Like yeah, we have like really good games against Dallas, and we always play some of our best hockey against them, even when we're playing absolutely horrible. So I feel like for me too, he is one of those players that I do find to be like interesting to also kind of cheer for in a way. Um, but there's other players, obviously, like Jeremy Swayman, like hate the Bruins. We beat you in the Stanley Cup final, so take that. Charlie McAvoy, again, same thing, cry about it. But I don't know. I just feel like they just have better players like Noah Hannafin, VGK. Hate the VGK, Kyle Connor, Matt Boldy. Like, I mean, the Wild, I have to say, I have a really hard time dissing the Wild right now because they ended up playing like really, really good hockey. Adam Fox too. A lot of like players that honestly like are kind of on Eastern teams for the most part, besides like the few that are out in the West. I don't know. I told you the West has better overall teams, but the East has like the best overall players. And then you have like guys for Team Canada, like Sam Bennett. I do like Sam Bennett. He's on the Panthers, and I've never had an issue with him. Sidney Crosby grew up hating the Penguins, hated him, but like not like I don't like wake up and I'm like, wow, I hate Sidney Crosby, but obviously he's such a good talent. Travis Konechny, obviously I know him. Nathan McKinnon, great player. Brad Marchand. Interesting. Like it is funny though, because like he's playing for Team Canada, but he's playing at home in Boston. So I find that kind of funny. So I'm like, LOL. Mitch Marner. Nothing against like Mitch or whatever, but when it comes to like who I like more on the Maple Leafs, I would still say Austin Matthews. Braden Point, nothing against Braden Point. Sam Reinhart, like him. Mark Stone, LTIR, but no, for real, I think he is a good competitive player. I think that he's smart with what he does. Kel McCarr, nothing against the Avalanche. Colton Parayko, who's that? No, I'm joking. I love Colton. Travis Sanheim, he played like one game, I think. Obviously, I know him. Shea Theodore, VGK, same thing. And then obviously Jordan Binnington. So, and then besides Binner, I do like Aiden Hill. But yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. I just prefer the players more so on the roster for Team USA, even though the hockey players that I cover are on Team Canada with both of the teams that I cover, actually. So it is a little funny. Like Sam Ersson, I also cover him. He had a great game last night in net for Team Sweden, despite the game not really meaning anything. I still feel like he did a really good job. So I was happy for him. 32 saves, not easy against, but again, and here's the issue. I don't know. Like Team USA, like they are better, but they just had a lot of injuries. And that was my biggest concern heading into this tournament. So we'll see how it goes. But I want to talk to you about my friends. I have a lot of friends, but I have a friend called FanDuel. And FanDuel is my absolute favorite. And you know what's funny though, before we get into that really fast, I feel like this month, and I don't know what it is, has just been going by really fast. But I'm going to talk to you about FanDuel later because I'm going to tell you about SelectQuote. In sports, having a winning strategy is everything. It's how the best teams make it to the Super Bowl, World Series, and the Olympics. The same goes for life. Having a strategy like life insurance from SelectQuote can protect your financial legacy and keep your family's future secure. SelectQuote makes it easy to find the perfect life insurance policy. As one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, they've helped over 2 million customers find $700 billion in coverage since 1985. What sets SelectQuote apart is their personal touch. Unlike the other brokers that offer one-size-fits-all policies, their licensed agents tailor coverage to fit your unique needs. If you're in good health, you might even qualify for some same-day coverage, up to $5 million. No medical exam required, and it's more affordable than you'd think. You can get to $1 million in coverage for as little as $20 a month. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today and get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. SelectQuote, they shop, you save. The Blues were back in action today with practice. And I know what you're thinking. Haley, how are you so optimistic? And I'm not. I'm just reporting on what is going on. I feel like for me, I'm at the point of the season, not that I'm over it, but I'm just not expecting like anything really to happen in a good way. Well, not in a good way, but just in a winning type of way. I don't know. Like, I feel like the Blues at the end of the day, honestly, they do have some good qualities still. They have good goaltending. They still have some good things, okay? But I don't necessarily think that this is a team that I'm going to lose sleep over if they don't do well. Because of Jordan Binnington being at the Four Nations Face-Off still, Will Cranley joins the Blues for practice this week, by the way. So if anybody saw that, don't freak out. It's just literally for the fact that, he's not here. So that's also kind of like one of those things. But at the end of the day, I feel optimistic in a sense that maybe we can see some of the younger guys like my boy, and I know I talk about him all the time, and that is my one and only Dvorsky. But I doubt we're going to actually see him, so I honestly don't even know. Listen, I'm a little bit always on the edge about it, but it could happen. It could happen. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But again, I am excited to kind of get back into action with everything. And one thing I will say though, because I am somebody here on Locked On Blues where I keep it real with you. Okay. I keep it 100 with you. And I feel like at the end of the day, this is a team that does not have an identity. And we talk about this all the time when it comes to hockey. What's the Blues' identity? Who are they? What do they plan on doing? How will they make themselves known? I don't know because they don't have one. I have tried for such a long time to kind of understand the Blues' identity, to kind of understand why they are the way they are. And the only person that spoke today after practice was Coach. And here's the thing. Do I expect this team to come back from the break being all fired up? Absolutely not. I don't know if this team has the motivation to do so. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. And I don't believe that this team has that. Do I expect this team to come back with a little bit more grit? Absolutely. And I don't think that's asking for much. I think what I am literally asking for is for this team to look like they care when they're on the ice. Again, I am not trying to be all negative. I'm not trying to be, all, oh no, what are the Blues doing? This is so bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to keep it real with you. This is a hockey team right now that just looks like hot garbage in the most respectful, nice way. And I think that when I'm watching this team, I hate to be like, I'm losing brain cells, but sometimes I feel like that just because I don't understand how time and time again, um, this is happening. I don't get it. And I just think that at the end of the day, you have two guys right now that are in the Four Nations face-off, which is awesome. But again, like, do I think that this team has players that are, and it's tough because, like, it's nothing against Pareko or Benner. It's just like one of those things where I look at this team and I'm like, who else besides maybe Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou would you consider to have that kind of talent? And I don't know. And that's the issue. Like, you look at a team like the Rangers, and despite the fact that they made all those trades, like, they literally traded their captain. They still had a lot more representatives in the competition than the St. Louis Blues did. Even the Philadelphia Flyers, and I just know them, so that's why I'm able to say it, not a good team, but yet they have more players than the Blues. So for me, am I a little discouraged? I mean, at times, yeah, and I feel like that's what being a fan is. Sometimes I just feel like I'm constantly getting disappointed by this team, and it's not fun. Now, I'm going to always watch the Blues, and I'm going to always rep the Blue Note, and I'm going to always cheer for my Blues because that's what we do here. But it doesn't mean that I'm not annoyed at times or that I feel discouraged at times, because that's 100% the truth. I literally feel like at times watching this team, I am going to lose my mind. And I am sorry if that comes off as like very negative or not as positive as I usually am. But with the Blues going back to practice today, I just want them to be fired up. I want them to be motivated. I don't want any more of these excuses, and I don't want any more of these pathetic type of contests that they have, because at times that does happen. I mean, we talk about the St. Louis Blues, right? And how, they're a good team and blah, 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 blah. But they're really not. They're playing the Jets on Saturday, and the Jets are such a great team, followed by the Avalanche and then the Kraken. Again, I told you this yesterday on Locked On Blues, that I feel like out of all those teams, the Kraken are the one team that the Blues could probably beat. But again, I just don't think that this team isn't that good. So, I don't know. It's my own issue, and it's an issue that I'm going to have for quite a while because I just am so negative sometimes when it comes to the Blues. But I would rather be negative and honest than nothing at all. So, take it for how it is. All right, now it's time to tell you about my friends over at FanDuel. I literally, by the way, I just want to put this out here. I love FanDuel so much. So, I'm probably going to bet tonight on basketball. No, basketball doesn't begin until Thursday. I'll make it futures. All right. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can still stay in touch with the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every movement of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch three, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I want to know actually who your NBA team is. I know we don't talk basketball in here, but I am curious if you guys have like a specific NBA team, because we don't have one obviously here in St. Louis. So let me know. I am curious about that. All right, let's get into it. If the Blues do make any move during the trade deadline, hopefully it's to pick up a solid defenseman. I know. Haley, what is your obsession with defensemen? Well, my obsession is the fact that we don't really have a lot of good ones. and I want this team to be a decent hockey team. No, but the reality is the Blues obviously have a problem when it comes to defense, and I feel like maybe getting a defenseman that could be helpful. And one thing that I like to do is look at rumors. Um I know that's kind of like a silly thing, but it's like honest. Like, I'm gonna be for real with you. The rumors are usually sometimes kind of true, and I don't know if like there's any truth, but I'm like, I don't know if the names would get put out there if it wasn't true. So one name that has been put out there a lot is Rasmus Ristolainen, and I don't want the Blues to take him. He plays for the Flyers. He's under contract for the next 2 years of $5.1 million, which is a lot. He's being overpaid. I don't think he's worth it. It's an awful contract, one of the worst in the NHL. So yeah, like obviously his name's gonna be there, and despite his size and all that, and just no, it's not worth it. Like I promise you. Knowing the Blues, though, 100% I could see them doing something like that. Um, but that's like the biggest name. Some of the other guys, like Seth Jones, like I'm good. I hate to be like all like negative, but like at the end of the day, I can't help it. Um, see, I feel like Cam Fowler, and I know obviously we got him, but I feel like that was somebody that a lot of people were expecting to be traded. So that's why I kind of feel like some of these rumors have to be true. Because like then I'm seeing names like Ivan Provorov. He did play for the Flyers before. I promise this is not like all former Flyers players. It just happens to be a lot of them are kind of being talked about being traded. Provorov right now plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And okay, here's the thing. He is on an expiring contract of 6.725 mil, and which kind of makes it a little bit easier for him. I personally think that Provorov is a good player. He plays a lot of minutes on ice too, like 23 minutes on ice a game. Like it's pretty good. He's, as I said, 27, but I feel like he is one of those players that might be a little he's a little I mean, he is serious and competitive, but I don't know if like necessarily he's gonna be one of those players that fans would be like embracing, but I don't really care about that. I care about how a player plays on the ice, which is why I think that Ivan Provorov would be kind of a good fit. I mean, 27 is young. I'm 26 now. Like, I just had my birthday, so I'm like, oh my goodness, like, is that old? It's not. I was about to say that. I'm like, wait, I'm literally gonna be calling myself old. But he's still young enough. And I do feel like because of that expiring contract, that could be something good. And obviously, here we go again. Keandre Miller. I know what you're thinking, the 25-year-old. I really want him so badly to be on the Blues. And I know what you're thinking. Haley, it's not going to happen. You know what? I don't like your negativity. I don't like that you're doubting me. I don't care. I think he is such a good player, and I really want him on the Blues. And 25 is young. Like, it's good. Like, I'm chilling. But that is who the three defensemen that kind of come up a lot. Keandre Miller, not necessarily. Like, his name's not in rumors or as many rumors, but, like, it's definitely out there. So that's why I'm kind of like, there might be a chance. And if there is, I'm totally down for it. Like, you know what I mean? So, again, let me know if there's any defenseman that you would want to be wearing the blue note. I want to know your opinion on that because I feel like this is a conversation that we could be having for the next couple weeks because the trade market was hot for quite a while. Not as many trades now, but maybe teams are just not doing it because of the Four Nations face off. I don't know. Personally, I didn't think like GMs cared about that kind of stuff, but I guess we'll see. On tomorrow's episode, we're going to talk more about kind of my thoughts on what I think the Blues need to do in the off season. We have a lot to talk about. I know it's mostly negative. I try to be fun with it, but it's hard when your team isn't doing well. So there's problems. And if I were GM for a day, I would fix a lot of these problems. So I will talk to you tomorrow again. Make sure to follow here on YouTube or subscribe on any of the podcasting forums. Again, this is Locked On Blues. Appreciate you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And oh, by the way, on Twitter at Locked On Blues. So there's a lot of ways to stay connected. And we get hockey again this weekend, which I'm super excited about because the break, it's nice and all in a sense that I get to watch some good hockey, but there is a part of me that kind of misses all the turnovers from time to time. It just, I like being annoyed. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And like always, let's go Blues.